2 years ago, on Juneteenth 2021, KBLA Talk 1580 launched with a promise to give disenfranchised fellow citizens a voice in current political, economic, social, and cultural issues with an empowering, sustainable, and restorative language.
Everybody's gotta live a life under the sun, under the sun, under the sun, under the
As we enter our third year, we are delighted that KBLA Talk 1580 consistently emerges as the talk station of choice for African American listeners. In a vigorous public opinion research study, the 2023 African American Media Issue Survey finds that for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 remains the most trusted, credible, and reliable media source in Southern California for African Americans and beyond. Furthermore, 80% of those surveyed agree that outlets like KBLA Talk 1580 provide honest and authentic content about the issues most important to the Black community directly from Black journalists who understand the issues that need to be addressed. At KBLA Talk 1580, we remain committed to curating conversations that matter to you. Thank you for your continued support. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. The station that sounds like the city looks. The city
looks. Hey boy, would you meet me on the roof tonight? I got a surprise for you.
Come on, JoJo, Maxine, Cherry. That's the Mary Jane girls right there. Ow! I know that one. The Mary Jane girls from Rick James' crew, who he says Prince stole the idea from Vanity 6 from. Come on, JoJo. You got me? All right. Vibing with the Mary Jane girls. And I appreciate Andy and the way he connects the dots, right? Because we are going to talk about the Mary Jane cannabis.
I love Mary Jane.
Rick James version?
All the versions.
Okay. So, listen up. Kevin Durant, I don't know if you remember, it was about maybe 6 to 8 years ago, Katie was clubbing out in Hollywood, and a prescription bottle tumbled out of his pocket when he was getting into an expedition, right? He was being carted off, and I don't believe he didn't pick it up. It looked to be quite a considerable amount of a substance, a green substance, we believe.
At least a half.
At least a half, Andy.
So 14 grams, we talking? 28?
About 14.
Okay.
14.
It was a nice amount, right? And it fell out, and he just kept it moving. Like, he didn't know what it was. Like, it was trash. Like, he meant to do it, right? Kept it moving. Fast forward in time, right? And we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Currently, it is now official that going into this season, marijuana is no longer on the NBA's banned substance list. Not only that, players are allowed to endorse and invest in cannabis brands. So, and I mentioned that there's no more testing, right? Big important. So Kevin Durant, he has a company with his partner, 35 Ventures, and they have a newsletter and organization called The Boardroom. Well, they recently had a conference, and KD was speaking about how he, not solely, but got involved and spoke with Adam Silver, who is the commissioner of the NBA, about taking marijuana off the banned substance list. Let's hear what KD had to say.
You also, by the way, invested in a number of cannabis companies.
Yeah.
And I'm so curious about your decision to be public about that, and what I assume, does Adam Silver call you up and say?
No,
hey,
I actually
man?
called him and advocated for him to take marijuana off the banned substance list. I just felt like it was becoming a thing around the country, around the world, that it was, the stigma behind it wasn't as negative as it was before. it doesn't affect you in any negative way. So I just felt like it was.
And what did Adam tell you when you said this to him?
He agreed, and you see where we.
Well, now they've actually told players you can invest and you can smoke and everything else. I think.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, definitely. Marijuana is.
But you were a pioneer, if you will.
I wouldn't call myself a pioneer. Not at all. But
a public pioneer. How about that?
I wouldn't say that either. I just enjoy the plant. I mean, as simple as that. And
so what did you tell Adam? How did you persuade him?
Well, he smelled it when I walked in. So I didn't really have to say much. You know what I'm saying? He kind of understood where this was going. And then, I mean, it's the NBA, man. Everybody is like, I hate to be. Everybody does it, to be honest. It's like wine at this point.
So Katie said that weed is like wine as far as NBA players are concerned. I have discussed for a long time that some of your favorite stars were probably playing high, at least on occasion. You would be surprised, right? And obviously we know that KD is one of the top stars in the league, unstoppable at scoring, a great businessman, and like he just said, he is advocating for the plant. So as marijuana, cannabis, weed continues to become more mainstream, what do you think about the roles that athletes have as far as making it more acceptable? Because athletes are supposed to be at the pinnacle of their body. We think about the type of energy they exert, the oxygen levels, all of that. So what are your thoughts about them being sort of the face of this new wave of cannabis use?
I think Katie is a pioneer, as a matter of fact. I think these conversations, the more people talk about them and are open about them, the more relaxed we're going to be. Because there was such a stigma about smoking, reefer a long time. I lost friends behind getting high and smoking because, seriously, because I was judged for it and it wasn't something that people did, 10 years ago. It wasn't as acceptable socially. I'm all for it. I think that smoking opens so many positive doors. It's a conversation piece. You make friends. It connects people. There are lots of benefits.
We had Marcus Malone on a few weeks ago from Glass House Brands. He's also a brand creative director for a couple of things, and he mentioned at the time he was headed down to Summer League how sneakers and cannabis bring people together. Said exactly what you said, a conversation starter. There are a lot of opportunities to make money in that industry in various forms, but
Sure.
Do you think that, because there's also the flip side of that, is people are concerned about kids, and California is one of the states that has done away with flavored tobacco smoking materials.
I'm so mad at that. I
They
need my grape swishers. My God.
And they are talking about things like the candy coated edibles that are available. Do you think that it is having an impact on the youth because there's so many people now that are advocating for plant use? Even if a lot of them, I feel, are advocating for it responsibly. We don't get a lot of the slacker and stoner imagery that we used to in connection with cannabis use. But what are your thoughts about that? Because it's always, what about the children?
Yeah. What about the kids? I think the kids are always going to be exposed to it one way or another, just like we were. There's nothing new under the sun. It really goes back to what you're seeing and what you're being exposed to at home and the conversations that you have around it. I don't think that people, advocating for it is going to sway, kids or, either way, because guess what? At a certain point, they're going to figure out what it is. They're going to make a decision on their own, whether it's policed or not. We had DARE growing up, right?
I mean, I'm gonna tell you what though. Like, this
We
is
still
your brain
ended up
on
doing it.
drugs.
Yes.
I mean, people did, but this
Any
is the brain on
questions?
your drug. That really did affect me. I
Sure.
was like, oh my God, that's
Yes.
what happens to your
All of
brain.
us. All of us. It did.
Whatever. When we come forward, we'll have more on this topic. But I do want to mention that Tupac said in an interview, he talked about his mother. He said his mother was the first person to smoke weed with him, and he said even though that is a controversial statement, he said it helped him in the streets because he was able to identify, hey, that's just weed. Hey, that is not weed. There's something else in that, and you shouldn't be able to smoke that. So there is the other side of the equation with being able to identify and know what's out there and what is appropriate in your, circumstance. We will have more on this topic. We'll also have some information regarding a change and how you'll be able to purchase your cannabis if you are someplace where it is legally able to be purchased. We'll have all that and more. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Dominique DePrima. We can all fall into the trap of mindlessly spending sometimes. I know I do it. But one tip for staying on track is when you have an impromptu purchase that comes up, try making a habit of taking a quick look at your bank account balance before you buy it. It's not just about seeing how much you have in your checking account. Just looking at your account might put the urge to make that impulse purchase into perspective and help you make better choices that'll benefit you for the long term. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The Los Angeles Urban League helps African American and others in underserved communities achieve true social parity, economic self-reliance, and civil rights. For over 100 years, Los Angeles Urban League has ensured our communities have access to careers with living wages, opportunities to start and grow businesses, and clear pathways to personal and professional growth. Programs like BizCamp, Construction Career Academy, Bob Business Ready, and B-Warp. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Program are examples of the ongoing events designed to make our centennial mission to rebuild Black Wall Street right here in LA a reality. To sign up for our newsletter or to support the Los Angeles Urban League with your time, talent, and donations, visit laul.org. That's laul.org. The Los Angeles Urban League is a proud sponsor of Urban Family Focus, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, you are locked in with RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. I am joined by our contributor, Trent the Artist. We're having a conversation on the legalization of cannabis and some of the responsibilities surrounding it. And the chat, the YouTube chat, is very, very opinionated on this topic.
It's on fire.
T. Sworn says if it's done in moderation, it should be okay and acceptable. And yes, the line should still be 18 and over. Forensic accountant wanted to remind us that marijuana is still a Schedule I drug at the federal level. And we're going to get into something about that in our next story. Carrie Webb says, my DARE officer was fine. Been drug-free all my life. See, that was the motivation she needed. And Anouk Caswell says, it's funny when it comes to the kids. I started at 13 in 83. Yeah, I still need my blueberry wraps. So, there's a lot of people on different sides. Pretty Brown Mimi wants to know if there's a big difference between medical marijuana and street marijuana, and what kind are NBA players allowed to have. The difference is technically medical marijuana. That term started because in California, I believe it was about 95, 96, the first laws were passed where, for medical reasons, marijuana, a prescription for it, could be issued out. And so I think that is where the term came from. Now it's recreational as well as medical purposes. The only difference is with medical, you have to get a license for it. You're allowed to have a bit more amount of it on your person, and you can grow it for health reasons and maintain that. But forensic accountant is correct. It is still illegal at the federal level. And he wants to make sure that we are not in our feelings about this, and we need to know the law. So those are his thoughts on what's going on with all of that. He also adds that, there it is. Your local DA has major latitude in terms of punishment. I wouldn't necessarily expect a light sentence related to marijuana. So, listen, what I will say is, again, here in California, I don't think it's something that they are really pursuing. Now, they were taking down the illegal dispensaries, but they're trying to get those tax dollars and get their money off of it. But there are problems that come along with it. So one of them is one that we're going to discuss now. So I spotted this story in Reuters, and it's basically MasterCard has told financial institutions to stop allowing marijuana transactions while using their debit card. So we know, or maybe you don't know, that dispensaries, medical marijuana. Yeah, that's it. Or just plain, tested marijuana, packaged marijuana. It's different from the weed, in theory, that people got from their homeboy on the corner in a dark park back in the day. Mm-hmm. This marijuana is supposedly tested. It's at a higher quantity. There's no mold to it. And it's in these stores. It's almost like going to Target or something like that. But it is still illegal. And most banks in the country do not serve cannabis companies. They don't take the deposits. They don't process the payments. None of that. Well, a workaround was utilizing a debit card, kind of like an ATM machine. People would use that, punch it in, and pay for their purchases. Well, someone snitched to MasterCard. They figured it out. And so MasterCard has started terminating the activity of any of these interactions within certain businesses. Their spokesperson said the federal government considers cannabis sales illegal, so these purchases are not allowed in our system. Basically, this move is another blow to the legal level of state cannabis, and it causes issues for patients that want to access their marijuana. It also causes a safety issue for some of the dispensaries, because now you're dealing in all cash, and dispensaries are already a target for crime. You add into the fact that that they aren't accepting any digital payments. That means that there's cash and product on hand. A lot of them have, 24-hour security guards just to sit out front. So what are your thoughts about MasterCard taking this move? And is it kind of silly, because inevitably, the way that we're heading, at some point in the next 5 to 10 years, I believe cannabis will be legal all the way across the government. Maybe there are a couple of states, but I think that it will become legal at a federal level as well. But what are your thoughts, Trent?
I think that this is a scheme that Todd set up to for MasterCard not to take payments no more. And I think it's also a way to, or the start of a way to disenfranchise certain people from reaping profits from this. Okay. Well, T. Sworn says, back in the 80s,
and 90s, the cops would take your weed, throw it away, and let it go. And he said the proper term for recreational marijuana, the marijuana that is in retail stores, is federal bar coated and taxed marijuana. That is the word for it. So now that we have all of our correct language in play and we can discuss the topic at hand, I do think that it is a money play, but I am curious because it's something that has kind of been going around it for years, and if you can't necessarily identify it, I'm sure they're taking it in one way or another in some format. I wonder what caused them to come down with the hammer at this point in time.
Regulation and control, just like everything else.
Okay, interesting. Well, make sure you take that cash with you if you are headed out to a dispensary, because it is no more.
I think we're about to start having to go back to the local situation.
You're gonna have to hit up the weed guy.
The local guy. Yeah.
You're gonna have to, have him bag it out for you in a scale.
Oh, that's a good one. Forensic accounting. He's giving out all the forensic accounting advice tonight on how to clean your money if it smells like weed.
What?
Oh yeah, it's all in the chats. He says, I'm going to tell y'all this once. Do not ever deposit money that smells like weed. Spray it with Febreze if necessary. So apparently he knows something that we don't know.
Okay. T. Swarns also mentioned that his delivery service will not accept his credit card, only debit. So here's the thing. You can still, if you have a Visa debit card.
Who has that anymore?
What, Visa debit cards?
They still have those?
They absolutely do. Visa
no, I'm not trying to be funny. I thought that they only did credit now. I thought that they had done away with debit cards.
No, I think that they still have some. Maybe there's not as many.
Okay.
Maybe the thing, but I actually think that there are more Visa debit cards as far as in the marketplace than MasterCard. So that's no. Okay, we're gonna have to look that up. Fact check it.
No,
we're gonna check.
We can fact check it right now.
We're not talking about what's in your wallet.
Look, it's MasterCard.
Okay, but that's your wallet. We're not talking about that.
I'm telling you, it's a MasterCard. There is no
see.
Visa logo on any of these cards anymore.
Let's see. We're gonna check
even
that out.
that one. I seriously thought that that the banks had done away with the Visa thing because it costs too much to process or something like that.
Maybe some did. Which bank has the best Visa debit card? So HBSC, they still have a Visa debit card. Yes Bank.
Who's that?
Axis Bank. I'm not sure, but
I think all the majors are now on MasterCard.
Okay, you might be right. Let's see. Visa debit cards. Let's see who they say still has them. Find your bank issuer. They don't say which banks, but they do say that they still have them. So anyway, either way, get you a Visa if you want to use your card.
Yeah.
Otherwise, get cash.
I like cash.
So now it's time for us to get in our Tubi bag.
Oh, yeah.
We are every week when Trent the artist is here on RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. We will be doing Tubi reviews, right? So what it is you guys send us suggestions, films or TV shows that you think that we should check out on Tubi, and we watch them and we give you a review. So this week we checked out Cinnamon. That is a film that stars Hailey Kilgore. She plays Jukebox on Raising Kanan on Stars. David Ionico, might be mispronouncing that. Damon Wayans, Pam Grier, Jeremy Harris. They round out the cast, and it's a noir thriller. And this film comes from the Tubi banner, their Black Noir Cinema Initiative, and they are working in conjunction with Village Roadshow Pictures. And Cinnamon was also co-produced by former NBA All-Star Kevin Garnett. So the premise of the film is basically, I should say, in mentioning the Black Noir cinema, is that they are paying homage to the Black exploitation films and taking bits of inspiration from there and turning out new stories and original content through Tubi. So the film is about a small town aspiring singer That would be Hailey, whose life is turned upside down after a robbery at the gas station she works at sends her into an unexpected web of organized crime. So, Trent, what were your thoughts on Cinnamon?
I like Cinnamon. I thought it was engaging. There were some. No, that was a different movie. I watched a few movies this weekend. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. The twists, the plot twists, the things that I wasn't expecting, just when I thought that I had it all figured out, and no, it wasn't that. So it was good. It was engaging. I liked it. I really did like it.
Okay, so like I said, they are taking inspiration from the Black exploitation pictures. You know, we always love to see Pam Grier. She is the originator, the queen of that period. And what I will say is interesting.
She is funny.
In the role?
In the role, yeah.
The thing that was interesting to me, without giving too much away, because, you know, we're about spoiler-free reviews on this show, is that I will say she doesn't have any dialogue in the entire film.
That she had one line.
Oh yeah, at the end, right?
Well, no, she had two. She had two lines. She had the one was like, "Give it to me," when she, and then there was one more, 2 lines the whole time.
Well, so I thought it's always interesting to see a queen. I thought it was a nice little adventure, something to pass the time away. It's obviously, with actors of that caliber involved, pretty well done.
Yeah, I liked it. Damon Wayans was funny with his accent.
Always.
I kept looking at him and I was like, why does he? I felt like he was like channeling Morris Day.
That's what you got? That's what you felt like he was doing?
I'm like, why is he like?
Was it the hair?
It was the hair and the freckles. It threw me, and I was like, wait, is he imitating Morris Day? And kind of the talk, it was very Morris Day-ish a little bit.
So forensic accountant said that he checked out. He played me, and he played me too on Tubi last night. He said he almost stayed up as late as Pretty Brown Mimi. Is that something that we need to check out and review? Is that something we need to get into?
Oh,
I don't know. We might have to look into that. Add that to the list.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
We might have to add that to the list.
Something I'm familiar with. I got him played before, 1 and 2.
What happened? What happened?
They might be watching. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. I think everybody has experienced a moment where they felt like, this isn't going the way that I imagined it to be.
It's just like somebody's playing in your face. I have a whole T-shirt that says "Quit playing in my face" for one of my T-shirt lines. It was based on the experience with that crazy Virgo. Yes.
Oh, so see, now the truth comes out. You just have a bias against Virgo.
No, I don't. I think my grandmother is a Virgo, September. My grandfather is also. I love Virgos.
Okay.
It was just that one time.
That one time.
At band camp. It just
Mistake.
got. I didn't know. It wasn't a mistake. I didn't say that. It was a good experience. Nothing bad to say. It was just, I wish you would have.
Well, when we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. We'll have more Tubi suggestions. You are listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. On the other side, news and sports coming up.
I can't wait to love you, baby.
I'm gonna give it to you. I've been waiting for you so long. Come to me. I'm gonna give it to you. Meet me on the rooftop in the night. I'm gonna give it to you. Come and get my love delight.
Oh, something's got me so delighted, baby.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A witness at the scene of Malcolm X's 1965 assassination says he was never interviewed by police. Attorneys for Malcolm X's family said that Mustafa Hassan, now 84 and a former associate of Malcolm X, was there at the Audubon Ballroom in New York City on that day. He says he heard police ask if the suspected gunman was with us after they saw him being beaten by Malcolm X's supporters. After a 1-month pause in June, another interest rate hike is going into effect. The Federal Reserve is trying to get inflation rates down to 2%. The Fed is raising rates by 0.25 percentage point. In celebrity birthdays, Joe Jackson was born on this day in 1928. He was the talent manager and the father of the Jackson family. And that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do. So great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to now.
2 years ago, on Juneteenth 2021, KBLA Talk 1580 launched with a promise to give disenfranchised fellow citizens a voice in current political, economic, social, and cultural issues with an empowering, sustainable, and restorative language.
Everybody's got a little light under the sun, under the sun, under the sun.
As we enter our third year, we are delighted that KBLA Talk 1580 consistently emerges as the talk station of choice for African American listeners. In a vigorous public opinion research study, the 2023 African American Media Issue Survey finds that for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 remains the most trusted, credible, and reliable media source in Southern California for African Americans and beyond. Furthermore, 80% of those surveyed agree that outlets like KBLA Talk 1580 provide honest and authentic content about the issues most important to the Black community directly from Black journalists who understand the issues that need to be addressed. At KBLA Talk 1580, we remain committed to curating conversations that matter to you. Thank you for your continued support. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. The station that sounds like the city looks.
What's up, LA? The Reparationist community got something real special going down in historic Leimert Park. August 12th, 2023, this event is sponsored by Reparations United and Black Pact, fighting for justice and empowering our community. Together, we can make moves. We have an insane lineup for y'all. The sultry Rotimi, the king of LA, The Game, smooth Eric Benet, and none other than the powerful sounds of Blackness. Also, we have some special guests in the house. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, State Senator Stephen Bradford, LA's beloved Councilwoman Heather Hutt, and many more. They're bringing their passion and leadership to the stage. Mark your calendars, August 12th, 2023, Leimert Park. Let's come together, support each other, and make a difference. Peace, love, and reparations benefit concert and unity rally. Be there or be left out. Produced by Tara Perry of Black Pact and Cam Howard of Reparations United.
Attention taxpayers, ready for some bad news? With $80 billion in new funding from Congress, the IRS has launched their most aggressive hiring campaign ever to ramp up enforcement. If you're ignoring your taxes, don't delay another minute because your paycheck, your bank account, even your home or business could already be at risk. Now, here's the good news. Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm, can get to work immediately helping to protect you from the IRS. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their tax attorneys and licensed professionals are experts at resolving tax problems. Let them help determine if you qualify for the Fresh Start Initiative or other powerful IRS tax assistance programs. Take control. Call Optima Tax Relief now for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You made her real nervous with that.
Are we allowed? I think we're allowed.
Are we? Did we cancel both of them?
I think so.
All of them?
That's Marcus.
Yes, it
right?
is. It is.
I don't know. I'm gonna plead the fifth on this one. You were checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I do remember that song, though. You know.
Not his best work, but we'll go with it.
So, you're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. We have been talking about cannabis use in the NBA. We've been talking about whether or not it is fair that MasterCard is ensuring that their debit cards cannot be used at any dispensaries. And now, we're going to get into a little change of topic. Last week, I believe it was, we discussed Travis Scott and his concert that was being planned at the Egyptian pyramids of Giza. Well, Giza, okay. Giza.
Come on, Andy.
No, I'm just like, So listen, we talked about that there was a contingent that was planning on suing Travis Scott so that the concert couldn't go through. They believed that he had satanic practices that came down at his concerts, that there were rituals and ceremonies that take place that they were not rocking with. They felt that it was not a proper use for, they're one of the seven wonders of the world. Mm-hmm. These landmarks, these assets. So the concert was, in fact, canceled. It was the Egyptian Syndicate of Music Professions that set out to get the concert canceled. And they, their response in a statement said, based on research and documented information about strange rituals at Travis's concerts that are inconsistent with our authentic societal values and traditions, the board of directors has decided to cancel the license issued to hold this type of concert that contradicts with the cultural identity of the Egyptian people. So Travis's people are saying it was due to the elaborate stage setup and nothing like that. But we talked about this last week. So Trent, what are your thoughts? Do you think that what happened, what they were accusing him of, proved to be true? Or do you think that it just was a logistics and PR nightmare for the Egyptian officials? And,
I'm glad that it was canceled. I did not think that it was the appropriate staging for a concert at all to happen on such, I don't want to call them sacred grounds. You know what I'm saying? Burials have happened there. It's just sacred ground. The tourism and seeing it is already enough. We don't need any more disruption or disturbance to the grounds.
Okay, so I'm not mad at that. I do appreciate that. I do think that there are some places, as dynamic as the experience probably would have been, I am with you. I think that there are some locations that should be sacred and should not be included in a performance aspect.
You can go have this concert in any other desert in the world, baby.
It can be anywhere.
In the middle of nowhere. You don't even know. You can get some 3D. You can do what do you call it? Hologram pyramids in the back and make it look realistic and everything.
Listen, I don't think they want to do holograms. I think they wanted to be in the real moment. Didn't we determine that something astrologically was happening
around this time? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I don't know. No, I'm just
retrogrades and like it's sacred land. And this is the thing with society where we are. People just think that they can have access to any and everything, and somebody has to draw the line in the sand somewhere.
Well,
good for Egypt.
Good for Egypt. So moving on. Bow Wow's being sued. I thought we weren't supposed to call him Bow Wow anymore, right? We're supposed to call him Shad.
Oh, okay. I love Shad Moss. We should come on. Let's do it. I love calling people by their government names.
So Shad Moss is being sued for $15,000 after he allegedly ran off with a 10-year-old's money. They claim that he agreed to work with the rapper, and Bow Wow, Shad, is claiming that the child was catfished. And basically, someone hacked his account. So, according to reports, he's being sued because allegedly he agreed to be featured on this 10-year-old song, and his fee was $15,000. I think I want the parent to ask themselves if that sounds right, starting off. But, you know, at any rate, court documents obtained by Spade TV claim that he was sent $3,000 through Cash App, but his verse never followed up. So now the girl's father is suing him for $15,000. And the suit reads in part, based on the foregoing as a direct consequence of the defendant's actions and failures, the plaintiff's total damages, including cost and attorney fees, are $15,000. So Bow Wow addressed the situation in the comments section of a report about the case, and he essentially said that the father may have been catfished and added he does not conduct business via DMs or Cash App, but he only does so through his management team. He wrote, smells like they got catfished. I hope D Pimpin' ain't back to her old tricks. I don't have Cash App. Business goes through managers, etc. There are contracts placed. I've never even heard of these people. Never was presented with a contract agreement. Nice try, though. He continued. Celeb pages get hacked, duplicated every day. Please be careful to who you guys send money to over these apps. I feel for you or whoever did this, but next time go through management. That's how you conduct business, not DMs and not on Cash App. So, Trent, what do you think about this? Because I think a lot of people, again, going back to our topic from last hour, feel that they are closer to entertainers and celebrities at this point, feel that they have a relationship with them based off of a follow on social media or if a comment was made or left somewhere. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that, one, this gentleman was really catfished by someone, and two, would it make sense to you that Bow Wow's giving your unknown kid a rap verse for $3,000?
First, that's what I'm saying. The number is low for an appearance fee. I mean, even though Bow Weezy, Shad, is not active as he once was, $15,000 for a record appearance fee is fairly low.
$3,000. Okay. $15,000 is pain and suffering.
$3,000 is fairly low. I'm telling you right now, a celebrity is not leaving a house for $3,000. They're not doing it either. And if I know how this works, okay, it's not. Celebrities are not doing this over a DM, and there's proper channels for it. And let me tell you, unless you have a celebrity's phone number or something like that, just because they follow you don't mean nothing. Well, it means nothing.
You know what's interesting? I think that there are a lot of people in this current time who will give their social media before they will give a phone number and use it to have conversations.
When people flirt with me all the time or something like that, I always say, what's your Instagram? I never give out my phone number.
And you can even, at this point, you can call people through Instagram.
Yes, you can.
So
and FaceTime. Yeah, you don't even have to give out your number anymore. So that's plausible. However, that low number.
That number doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense. It doesn't match.
Well, when we come forward, we will have more trending topics and headlines. You are listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe right here live on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Youth Youth Forward organization calls for a cannabis candy ban for products they say target children. I'm Maisha Cairo with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you by CaliforniaBlackMedia.org. Mid-July, a coalition of groups committed to raising awareness about cannabis products that look like candy called on Governor Newsom to enact a cannabis candy ban. Youth Forward, an organization working to shape cannabis policy, is leading the charge with a petition to direct tax revenues from marijuana into youth and community reinvestment programs. The Cannabis Candy Child Safety Act, Assembly Bill 1207, passed the Assembly with a 61-0 vote in May. The bill aims to prevent children from consuming cannabis products by regulating packaging and advertising. It is currently under review in the Senate Appropriations Committee. KBLA listeners, what are your thoughts on this one? Let us know on our social platforms on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Hey VIPs, thank you for rocking with me on RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. We have been having an amazing conversation tonight on all sorts of topics. So this is a side, but it's relevant. You know, Snoop Dogg, in solidarity with the writers and the actors and actresses, has canceled for the second time his concert at the Hollywood Bowl. It was to be the 30th anniversary of the release of the Doggy Style album. And I have to say, I'm pretty sad about it.
I am very upset.
I really hope that they reschedule it, because Snoop and Dre at the Hollywood Bowl with all of their friends.
And an orchestra.
Oh,
my God. What?
That was going to be amazing. But also, on the flip side of that, I think that it was pretty obvious that, especially when you think about an event of this magnitude, that there was going to be more to it. Maybe a documentary, maybe some type of film. Something was going to happen that likely would have required some writers of some sort, or maybe, you know, some type of film component to it. So
For sure.
I really hope they reschedule it. Who gets sad when they see a refund come through, an alert come through?
I know.
That's money back to you, but I really was sad.
I was talking about it with my attorney the other day. I convinced her to go too. But it was a fun time. It was just going to be one of those LA events. Iconic, you know, had to be there. The whole thing, you know, the smoke going up in the air at the Hollywood Bowl, like the whole experience.
The fireworks.
Oh.
It's going to be amazing. But now we'll have to see if it'll come back next year. I thought it was supposed to originally happen June 28th yes. and 27th, I believe, were the two dates. And they moved it to October 21st. or some what have you,
Yeah,
which
21st and
was right
22nd.
around
Snoop's
birthday,
yeah.
the Libra. So, I was like, oh, this is going to be a great time. But sadly, perhaps another day.
Maybe we've got to rebuy our tickets, that's for sure.
We got to rebuy our tickets. So we were talking about Shad Moss, right? And the idea that someone probably catfished one of his fans and, took their money. But I have a question. What part of it, and I know this may be unfair to say, but sometimes I just wonder what happened to common sense and protecting ourselves. Like, not all the time, but sometimes, and I get everyone has a different level of knowledge, but at what point is it kind of like, are you thinking realistically about this? Does this really make sense to you? Do you think that there's ever an onus on people that find themselves getting caught up in some of these situations?
And not to, I feel like I'm trying to find the right answer or to clean this up the appropriate way without sounding, like a complete jerk. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people think anymore. They really don't. And I wanna almost say that it's the younger generations, the social media generations, the people that were born with phones and devices in their hands.
But this was a father. Don't you think he should be of established
but
age?
a father can be 25.
That's true.
A father can be 30. I think that people under the age of 35, that's the cutoff, there's something missing, and it's because were born with devices. They don't know anything else. We come from an era where we know what it's like not to live with a phone, a computer. We didn't have none of this stuff growing up. We knew what it was like to read a book, go outside and play. These things that kids just simply didn't have, and we were required to think logically. We had to read a map. We had encyclopedias. We had to do research.
So you're saying that we wouldn't have been Carly Russell if we had that scam?
We wouldn't have been any of these things because we knew better, and not only that, we had enough wherewithal to know how the world. We had to be smart.
We did.
We had to know how to do certain things, to get ahead in the world. And if you didn't have it, you just didn't have it, and you know what you had to do. You had to resort to a job like Wendy's or something like that. Not a diss, but there was certain things that you couldn't do because you just didn't have the aptitude to do it. And a lot of people just don't have that anymore because it's been washed out and replaced with, you're not required to do anything. You're not even required to think anymore. Everything is done for you.
I mean, that is true. I think people need to start waking up and paying attention to all of that. Sometimes I think that, you couldn't have really thought this through. You couldn't have really been paying attention.
You don't have to think anymore. Everything is a swipe. You can, it's almost, once you really break it down and all that, it's just like, ooh, man, some of these people really got a bad deal, and it's just like it's no hope because you don't even know how to. If the internet broke right now, half the people in this town would not know how to get around without their damn GPS.
That is facts. They wouldn't know how to do a lot of stuff.
Couldn't get home.
They maybe couldn't get into their home for some.
Listen. So.
I mean, Gen X, we were a very feral generation. You're not Gen X, but you're close.
Close, I'm on the border,
You're a late millennial. So I think that one thing about it, we were latchkey kids. It's when the start of those relationships, those parents started splitting up. We saw more mothers outside of the home. There were no cell phones. There was only one line. So parents were just like, okay, be home. We knew the rules. You hear this all the time.
Yes.
Be home by the time the street lights come on. You're supposed to take the chicken out and defrost the chicken for your parents or whatever the meat was for the evening so that they could make dinner. People had to call and speak to your parents in order to speak to you. I think all of these things have kind of, in a weird sort of way, warped the younger generation because they don't have to talk to parents. They don't understand that fear factor, that respect level. Everybody's the same. I don't know. That's a separate tangent. Just, thought I'd bring it up there. But shout out to the Gen Xers. The chat is still lit. T. Sworn says, I agree. Instant gratification has messed these kids up. That's not a diss either. Anouk said everything was manual for us. That's right. Everything very much was analog, and we are in a very digital era. Andy, you have something to add?
I think today's parents are trying to be their kids' friends as well, too.
I mean, I can see that. I think that there
and clawing onto youth.
Okay, so I have heard that said that people feel like there is a Peter Pan syndrome to Gen X. I don't know if I think that, like, overall. I do think that there is something of a changing of what is considered old. I think the idea that you get in one relationship, one career, we saw that change, which also had an impact on how people conducted their life. You know, back in the day, I'm sure someone 35, 40, that's old. You're not married. Your life is over.
Yes.
What are you doing? You go sit home and play bidwist or, you know, whatever. And watch a show on TV, get your TV dinner out, and keep that train moving. And as things expanded, as more women took themselves into the workplace, as more, let's say, diversity came in certain situations, we see what it allowed for as far as the extension of dating. I mean, we have a golden bachelor now at 71 years old that is going to be seeking and trying to find love again. I think that's great.
I love that. Yeah.
But I wonder if it's that the parents were trying to be their kids' friends, or if they were just trying to relate to them because maybe they felt like they couldn't talk to their parents about anything at that time.
I was going to say that.
That very much is, you know, an era of children are to be seen and not heard. You didn't have an opinion as a child. There was a respect factor that, you know, is a beneficial because kids feel more empowered. They feel more confident to speak out. But at the same time, the respect seems to be eroding quickly. Trent, what are your thoughts?
It does. It's too late in the evening to take this conversation because it's gonna go left. But yeah, there is a lot of disrespect in a lot of ways. I think you know, it's just society, parents wanting to do things different and not have that wrangle and control that, you know, their parents once had. And it's just the times, they changed. You know, things change. Not to say it's for the better or the worse, but there needs to, you know, be some sort of boundary still in place.
So T. Sworn says patience got lost along the way. Could these kids wait 45 minutes for a TV dinner in the oven? One channel sitting the thing.
No.
You know, I remember when we got our first microwave and it was a new thing.
Yeah.
And everybody just looking at it. And now we have air fryers. It's like an adult easy bake oven. So I just think that, you know, there's a lot of change in the air. But shout out to Gen X because they always fly under the radar but know how to get things done. And people are always like, oh, Gen Xers are slackers. They're da-da-da-da-da-da. No, they just mastered the art of getting things done and staying in the cut so people leave them alone so they could do what they want to do and skate.
And plus, there was no internet to have to report or answer to or keep up with. Or I'm sorry, Instagram. Sorry.
Definitely was not. Instagram, I cannot wait for the reports and the studies that are going to be done 15, 20 years from now about the fallout and the impact of social media and what it's done to our self-esteem and society at large. I definitely think that is coming.
Maybe that's the reset that we need.
Maybe.
So we can reconnect.
Forensic accountant says crack changed everything. Anouk says, I am in that era with my kids, so I'm going to enjoy the fruits of my labor. I know that's right. Well, thank you guys for clocking in and checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe. We are here every Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. to midnight. When we come forward, you will be listening to the best of KBLA. Thank you to my guest, Giandra LaBeouf, and my every Wednesday contributor, the Keep It Real
Thanks
friend.
for having
and I think
me.
he's kept it quite real tonight.
Shout out to the
Trent
listeners.
Jackson. Shout out to everybody that was in the chat. They kept us lit. Shout out to our callers for calling in tonight. We appreciate that. You have an amazing night. We will see you tomorrow, VIPs. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
You ruined my rap. She said you're only 16. You don't have a rep yet. I said, Mom, let's put these clothes back, please. She said, no. You go to school to learn, not for a fashion show.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you for sharing a part of your Wednesday morning with us here on the Black Information Network. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest. A new report from Nashville, Tennessee's Community Oversight Board is citing racial discrepancies when it comes